Hello, hello. I am back. I know you guys have been wondering where I've been, what I've been up to, why have I been gone for so long. And I'm here to tell you what's been up with me. So, 4 months ago, I quit my job at State Farm, cold turkey. I quit my job and I was exhausted. I was just in this state where my body just needed to rest. And it happened because I was talking to my coworker at the job. She was on FMLA because she had sickle cell. So she definitely needed it. And she was like, oh, you should get it too. You just have to get your doctor to sign off on it. And so I went to a doctor. He was like, oh, I don't do that. And then he referred me to another doctor. And then I was like, hey, doctor, I have anxiety, depression, migraines. I just want time off from work. And he signed off on it. And then I had FMLA. However, once I got FMLA, I didn't know how to use it. I was like, do I not just show up or what? I don't know. But he asked me how long did I want off. I was like 12 weeks. He was like, no, I can't give you that long off. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I met my other coworker who told me she was going on a 12-week long-term disability leave. And I was like, wait, that's what I was going for. Because I wanted consistent weeks off, not just a little bit of time, because I was so stressful. It got to the point where I was in front of the computer and my body was like freaking out. Like I could feel the cells in my body like almost like jumping, like glitching, like alerting me like this isn't healthy for you. You can't sit in front of this computer all day and live a healthy life. And I was really feeling it in my breast too. My breast was like really like, I don't know, the cells in my breast were like freaking out. And I got this intuitive message that if you stay at this job, you're gonna get cancer. That is the exact message that I intuitively got. And so I was like, okay, I have to do something. I have to take a leave or something. I have to figure it out. And so I took a short-term disability leave, and they were telling me, okay, in order to do this leave, you just have to not show up, and then they'll do the process of talking to your doctor to see if it's approved or denied. And I thought I'd get it approved since, my doctor did send me medication for migraines, anxiety, depression. However, it was not approved. I guess for long-term disability, it has to be like super serious where you have to have like surgery or like continuous like medication or like surgery or like continuous, something serious. And so I was like, okay, I'm ready to come back to work now after I was off for like a long time. And they paid me consistently while I was off as if I was still working. And so I was like, yeah, I'm ready to come back to work. And they were like, oh, your disability was disapproved. And I was like, okay, what does this mean? And she was like, if it's disapproved, then you're probably gonna end up getting fired because you have to explain why you were gone for so long. And she was like, or you can appeal it. And I was like, I don't really want to go through the process of appealing it, if I just claim for anxiety, depression, migraines, which I told them that in the beginning. And if it was denied, it was denied. So to hell with it. And by that time, I was working on my certified personal fitness training certification, and I was applying to gyms. I got a call back from a gym from this really great guy. He had great energy. And I was like, as soon as I walked in the gym, I was like, oh yes, I love this gym. It's set up like an athletic center like I've always wanted to work at since I was in high school. And I finally got the time to live out my personal fitness training dream. And so I immediately accepted the offer. I loved the general manager there. I loved the guy who was working there who hired me. And I just loved the atmosphere of the gym. And I was like, yes, this feels good. This is a good fit for me. And so I took on the job at the gym. And I also got a job at a bakery at a grocery store. And so I resigned from State Farm. I sent them the email, sent back the equipment. And life was feeling good. I left, this hell where I was always mentally stressed. I was feeling the weight of all the pressure to work under the deadline all the time, all of this overwhelming work that was impossible for one person to do in homeowners claims insurance with State Farm working over like 100 different claims that would take forever, and the phone was ringing off the hook, and you're getting screamed at and cursed at every day. You're getting micromanaged. It was just too much, and I couldn't take it anymore. And so I was so thankful I got hired as a personal fitness trainer. I met, amazing other trainers, and I was so committed. And then I got the job at the bakery. So I've been there April, May, June, July. I've been there for about 4 months now, and it's different. I mean, I love being at the gym. I love personal training. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It is a physically demanding job, and you're always talking to people, always scheduling, and there's a lot of pros and cons to it. That's a whole nother video. But I left one job where I was like mentally stressed, getting mentally abused, mentally distraught, and my body was taking the toll. However, now I'm in 2 physically demanding jobs where I feel like, if I stay in these jobs, my body's gonna take the toll. It's going to feel it. And so now I'm in this position where, I'm working even on my off time to get out of these low tier jobs, these low tier environments that really don't help me thrive, and also working around low tier people that really don't inspire me, don't really motivate me. And so I thought my whole, purpose of taking off of work for that long, I slept a lot, but I also applied to a lot of positions where I had my major in communications, and my resume probably wasn't the best at the time. My resume looks good now, but I wasn't getting any callbacks for any communication jobs, and now I am in 2 part-time jobs where I'm barely making the rent. So that's the pro and the cons with a $30 an hour job that stresses you out. The workload is like out of this world. Like, I never worried about making my rent. When I was working at State Farm making $30 an hour, I had rent, I had groceries, I had makeup money, I had hair money, I had skincare money. I was happy. That was the bare necessities that I needed. However, now I'm just barely making rent. And that's stressful for me because I always have to call up my mom for help. And it's embarrassing because she's like, okay, next month, you should have it. And I'm like, I don't know if I will, but I can try. So that's really stressful for me, is that I'm not feeling the weight mentally of the first job I had, but these part-time jobs, working at the gym, working at the bakery, it feels mentally better. I'm not gonna lie, it does. But physically, it is taking a toll. So, I've always been, I worked really hard to not end up here, not end up in my 30s working at a grocery store or working as a low-tier personal fitness trainer. And I always thought, I would avoid these types of circumstances. But, I have to listen to this ancient, intuitive, inner guidance system within me. I just can't withstand environments that are not for me for long periods of time without taking the consequences for it. And so, a part of me ending up where I am right now, I'm not proud of where I'm at in life right now. That's honestly, I'm not proud of working at the grocery store. I'm not proud of being a low tier personal trainer. And, I've done everything that I could think of to not end up here. And I ended up here anyway. I majored in certain things. I worked in certain things. I met certain people. I put myself out there over and over and over and over again. I got creative. I branched out, tried a whole bunch of different things. And I don't know. I feel like there's like this force of, me moving towards the life that I can be proud of, the life that'll make me happy. And there's another force trying to keep me stuck in the same little bubble, the same little box that, you know, I was maybe, I don't know, groomed or raised or brainwashed to be. And I'm in the middle trying to rewire, you know, all of these limiting beliefs, all of these, I don't know, all of these things working against me. And I'm constantly working towards my goals to get me out of these low tier jobs, these low tier environments, low tier people. I'm constantly working on that every single day. And it feels like it's going slowly but surely. However, some of my clients at the gym, they have jobs that I admire, careers that I look up to, and I'm networking with them nonstop. So that is a blessing. But yeah, you guys, I feel like, you know, all of this happened after the result of me doing the shadow workbook journal, of me clearing out ancestral karma and, you know, bringing up the flaws and the sins and the traumas of my generational lineage. And it's like that was almost like the precursor for my life changing. So I feel like all of this occurred after I did the shadow workbook journal, and I was working on clearing out the ancestral generational traumas, different types of traumas of like just everything, gambling addiction, you know, being angry, being too docile, not speaking out, not living your authentic life, sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, just so many different toxic traits that keep you basically stuck, keep you in a certain level. And so after I did that ancestral karma clearing, I felt like it was so powerful and so profound, and it actually worked, that's when my life started changing. That's when, you know, I wasn't able to like stay in the same job. That's when I, you know, met somebody who came into my life who was an embodiment of all of the toxic traits that my ancestors carried. They had all like this baggage, all of this trauma, all of this chaos. And it's almost like this person showed up in my life after I did that ancestral karmic clearing as like a big test, or it was almost as if my ancestors were rebelling against me. I mean, my family is pretty stubborn. That is a pattern in all of us. So we just have that stubborn type of energy where they're like, okay, you want to get rid of our sins, our flaws, the one thing that makes us happy. Okay, we're going to show you. And I felt like that's when this person showed up in my life that was basically a walking embodiment of all of the toxic traits that I just cleared out from my generational lineage. And I felt like that was like a big test to see like, oh, is she serious? Will she really like not fold once all of this chaos is in front of her? And I passed the test. I never folded. I stood up to these energies. I spoke my truth, and they were shook. You know, they were shook it. I spoke my truth. I stayed strong. I stayed embodied. I kept my center. I never folded, not once. I stayed powerful. I stayed in my power. And once that happened, some things went a little crazy, a little bit of glitches. And so that's a whole nother video. I'm going to tell y'all about that relationship, about that interaction and how it changed me. And I do feel like a different person. I do feel like a portal was open. I do feel like I'm slowly integrating back to who I was before I met that person. However, I don't think I'll ever be the same because the energy was that impactful. It was that strong, like a damn hurricane. It came rumbling through. And so I'm still trying to close that portal. I'm still integrating. I'm still patching up, some hurts, some pains, some wounds I may have gotten along the way of that frequency battle. But I came out on top. I won. I never folded. And so, I have taken so many steps in my life to not get to where I am right now. I never want to be in my 30s working at a grocery store. I never want to be in my 30s working a low tier personal training position. I mean, personal training is fine, but the low tier training position, not so much. Maybe at a high end gym at this point. But here I am. And it's crazy because I have done so much and worked so hard not to end up here, just to end up here. And I almost feel like it is inevitable for me to be in this position that I am, where I'm not really proud of my life. I'm not really, super thrilled and excited to wake up and start my day because I'm not happy with, not happy with my life. I'm not happy with, the jobs I have, where I'm living, the way I look, the way, I'm single, the way I don't have a family. I mean, I'm not proud of it. I'm not. I mean, I know it could be worse, but I know it could be better. And so it's not like a life where I just wake up and I'm thrilled to live it. It's a life where I just want to sleep and sleep and sleep for days, because I'm constantly facing these lessons over and over and over again. It's like the universe just loves to give me tests and be like, oh, learn this, let's see if you can do this, let's see if you can do that, let's see if you can pass this test, let's see if you can pass this test, let's see how you overcome this. And it's like, damn, like when is it gonna be my moment just to live a life of bliss, to wake up and actually enjoy the life I live, to wake up and love to be traveling, to wake up and love to get beautiful and wear dresses and not be in a work uniform and not like slaving away, working 2 jobs and barely making ends meet. When's it gonna be my time to have a fulfilling relationship, But as stressful as my life has been with all of these lessons and these trials and tribulations, I don't really care about, being married anymore. I don't care about having a good relationship. I don't care about having kids anymore. At this point, I just want to be rich. That is like my only desire, is to be rich, because I already have put myself out there trying to, get the whole package, and maybe I'm not meant for that. Maybe God doesn't want me to have the whole package. Maybe God doesn't want me to be a wife. Maybe God doesn't want me to be a mother. But one thing I do know for sure is that I want to be rich. I cannot fathom anymore. I cannot fathom not buying the things I want, not traveling, not living the summer I want in Italy and Mexico. I can't fathom doing this any longer. And after all of the trials and tribulations that life has presented to me over and over again, and the lessons I'm still being presented, it's made me feel like, maybe this is my life. Maybe this is my life's purpose, is just to keep learning lessons over and over, to be tested over and over and over again. And if it is, I at least want to be rich while I go through all of these tests, to come out as, this strong warrior. I don't know what they're trying to make me into. But, I have to follow my inner guidance system. I have to. I can't stay in environments that harm me. I can't stay in environments where I don't feel good, where I don't feel inspired by the people around me. I can't stay in environments where I'll end up sick from overworking myself or dealing with stress. I will leave every single time, because if I don't, I deal with the consequences of self-harm. And I love myself. I'm not going to allow myself to be harmed in environments that I don't fit in, environments where I'm not growing, environments where I'm not being the best version of myself. And so if that leads me to being a low-tier personal trainer, working at a grocery store, barely making ends meet, then so be it. That's where I'm at right now. And I'm fighting every day, tooth and nail, to get myself out of this position. You know, only person that helps me out, you know, with the rent is my mom. Thank goodness. I'm so thankful for her. But then I get a little sad when she's like, okay, next month you should have it. And I'm like I'm trying. Like, maybe I will have it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But, you know, I'm watching all these videos and tips about people manifesting this, manifesting that, applying for, you know, the job they want, getting it immediately. And I want that. I want that in my life. So if you guys have any tips on how I can get some of that, let your girl know. If it's all just a bunch of hoopla, then I don't know. But this is my life, and I am not going to give up, even though I want to. There are days where I want to stay in bed and sleep for months and months and months. My soul is so tired. My soul is tired. My soul feels ancient. I just want to like sleep. I want to go to sleep in a plush, beautiful bed with 4 posts out in nature in a field of lavender and roses with squirrels and birds and the ocean right behind it. That's the kind of sleep I want. And, you know, I'm so thankful to have my own apartment. I'm thankful to have, you know, food, thankful to have a vehicle. But that's the bare necessities. I want to be grand. I want to have it all. I want to thrive. I want to live the life of luxury, the life of fun, because that's how I feel inside. I am ready for my outside to match my inside. And I don't know how many more tests the universe wants to give me, but I'll go through each and every one and come out on top every time and keep evolving no matter what. So that's where I've been, you guys. That's my life. That's where I've been. If you have any questions for me of what it's been like, where I've been, and I'm so excited to finally be making videos again. I have so much knowledge. I have so much wealth of knowledge that I've received that I want to share with you guys. And I'm so excited to just get all of this off of my chest and communicate to you guys and really break down all the things I've been going through, all of the profound insights that I've learned, all of the things I've learned. So I'm so excited for more videos to come, and stay tuned and keep watching. Thanks, guys. Bye.